Welcome to the Sector Spin with Terry. In this video series, I share with you what I'm watching each week in various sector industry subgroups. Market volatility has increased lately, which results in larger range ups and downs in price action, which can whipsaw a short-term trader, especially if you get in on the wrong side of a trade. Instead of fighting these moves in the short term, I'm looking out in the next several weeks to months for where to find good swing trade or intermediate term investments. Now, since making an aggressive move to all-time highs in August 2020, gold has been seen in a nearly year-and-a-half long consolidation. At TradingAnalysis, we've identified this corrective wave pattern as a triangle formation using our Elliott Wave Theory approach. We have reason to believe that this triangle is soon coming to a completion, which should result in a new impulsive move to the upside for the precious metal in the new year. If you'd like to learn more about how we use the Elliott Wave Theory at TradingAnalysis.com, we have several educational resources available. Inquire at info@tradinganalysis.com or on our website at tradinganalysis.com. Obviously, that's pretty simple. Okay, rather than trade directly in the precious metal, I propose that you take a look inside the GDX Gold Miners Index ETF. Now, sure, you could trade GLD or the GDX ETF straight out, but combining relative rotation graph technical analysis, we should be able to narrow the field even further to identify the strongest stocks in this subgroup. Now, this is a look at the GDX group of stocks. These in this list can be traded on the U.S. stock exchanges. Now, there are some international stocks included in the GDX ETF, just to be clear. I'm tracking 29 of these mining companies in this list here. This column is a weekly price percent change, and as you can see, it is still a very volatile group. Now, down here in the relative rotation graph of this list, benchmarked to the S&P, this chart plots the relative strength ratio of each stock versus the relative momentum of each stock with a frame of reference using the benchmark S&P at 100-100. Let me zoom in a little bit closer there. So here at the origin, we have relative strength along the x-axis, we have relative momentum along the y-axis, and the origin is benchmarked at 100-100 for the S&P 500. The four quadrants we have here are labeled leading, where the relative strength ratio is greater than 100 and the relative strength momentum ratio is greater than 100. In this quadrant, the stock is outperforming the benchmark in both metrics. Below is what we call the weakening quadrant, where the relative strength ratio is still outperforming the benchmark, but the momentum of the stock is below the benchmark. Over here in the lagging quadrant, both relative strength ratio and momentum are below 100, below that, and the stock is underperforming the benchmark. The upper left quadrant is called the improving quadrant, where relative momentum is outperforming the benchmark, but the relative strength ratio has yet to surpass the benchmark. Now, when we find the vectors moving in a northeasterly heading through this quadrant, we have a high probability that the price action of the stock is moving in a direction where it will be outperforming the benchmark in the next several weeks and/or months. This RRG tool helps us screen large groups of stocks to identify characteristics of future market leaders. Now, note the colors of the vectors, where the blue color indicates that we have a weekly improving price trend at hand. The red vectors indicate that the weekly price trends are still in a lagging condition. And the green vectors tell us that the weekly price trends are in a leading condition already. you can see Pretium Resources has its vector now in the leading quadrant. And this particular stock is leading the pack as the first out of the gates. Now let us look at a price chart of PVG, and then we'll also look at the price charts of these blue vectored stocks. The blue vector, as we said, indicates improving price trend at hand, and that will become new market leaders. We have a high expectation these blue vectors will turn green, and the heading and the direction that we see these vectors traveling, along with the length of the tail, which we call velocity, all of these indications are built in that are telling us that these stocks are in a position to move towards a leading condition where they will be outperforming the benchmark S&P. So let's start here with, let's go back to this page here. And I've run a little filter in here to identify my green and blue vectors, and that just kind of helps me organize them. So we're going to start here with Pretium Resources. And this is a daily price chart dated back through about May of this year, where Pretium Resources has been essentially, sorry, May of last year, essentially from where gold peaked sometime in August. Pretium Resources peaked just a little bit about a month later, and then has been in a long consolidation. Now, this consolidation does not look like a triangle, but this consolidation does appear to be effectively over, and a new impulsive uptrend has formed in Pretium Resources. I do believe following this aggressive move higher, there will be another little period of consolidation, which we're about halfway through right now, as the price retraces, and then we'll have another opportunity for Pretium to explore new highs. Let's look at SSR Mining. SSR Mining is in blue, and its vector is here. Its relative strength ratio is 99. It's close to the benchmark, but its momentum ratio is much higher, 104.5 on the momentum ratio. And it's traveling in this northeasterly direction that we really like. Similarly, stocks have come off the August 2020 high, just like gold, and this one possibly is triangulating, or the end of this correction actually occurred here, and then this is the beginning of a new impulsive move. You can see I've just drafted some simple trend lines here from this high, and we've made a new high. May 24th, we punched through a new high, and then we've got another period of correction occurring. Following this period of correction, I expect that we will establish a baseline uptrend channel that we can follow throughout the next year as this new impulsive wave unfolds. Harmony Gold also has a blue improving trend. You can see that here. And I'll zoom out just a little bit, show you the same thing. This one's peaked back in July 2020. So Harmony peaked ahead of gold's peak by about a month, and followed a consolidation period, broke through that downtrend, did not produce a new high here. So we technically have this high through this high, and I have a longer term resistance line that really needs to be broken to the upside, corrected back as support. But we do have what appears to be the beginnings of what we would call a leading diagonal to the upside, which is a motive move to the upside. This is possible that we have a corrective move completion as of September 28th. And the next steps up would be impulsive move higher. Goldfields is right here, this blue one right here, and I'll bring the price chart of Goldfields up. Click on it, there we go. So Goldfields saw a peak about a month after gold peak. Here's gold's peak, and then here is Goldfields. So there was exhaustion gap rally, and then a big corrective move. This one is not triangulating because we actually formed a new low here as opposed to this. So I can't call this A, B, C because C goes below A, and that's one of the rules you cannot violate inside a triangle. Nevertheless, we can call this an ABC correction, and that correction is likely completed here September 23rd, 24th. We have pushed aggressively higher, and if we draw a trend line through this high and this high, you can see we've established a new high above this level, which was resistance, and now this level should provide support, as again I'm expecting possibility of another little period of consolidation to play out, and then we move higher. And this is all consistent with our needing to wait just a little bit longer for gold to complete its larger term triangle. Anglo Gold is this one here. AU is the symbol, and Anglo Gold, let's get that link up. Come on, there we go. So Anglo Gold has moved off a high that was established about a month prior to gold establishing its high in August 2020. Well, maybe a week or so higher, a week before, and then it moved lower. Now this move lower, this was a resistance line that I had drawn in here at one point, and now you can see that we have broken through that resistance line to the upside. Let me make that a little bit brighter. I'll change the color tone on it. There we go. That should be easier to see. And so breaking through this resistance level and continuing to move higher, we have another level that we need to protect against here. Let's see. I'll draw this as a resistance line from that high through this high, and you can see that right now we are breaching that resistance level and testing that resistance level again here in Anglo Gold. And I'll zoom in on the daily. These are daily candles. You can see we had a big reversal candle here as it attempted to push beyond this resistance. It's possibly holding. I think the price today is sitting just underneath that level. So we'd have to watch to see whether this one is going to make a corrective move from here or possibly accelerate higher in another leg before making another corrective move down. But I do believe we just need to be patient and watch these things, because we're going to have some fun trading this, I know, in the new year. So now that we've identified the stocks moving most aggressively, we'll need to use additional techniques to plan our entry points and trade plans. I encourage each of you to take this to the next level using your own trade planning, risk-reward conditions. Get ready to trade this group as it moves higher into the new year. Follow us at TradingAnalysis.com. Become a subscriber so you don't miss out on how we leverage this powerful technical analysis tool to provide our clients with quality market analysis and guidance to safely navigate volatile times in the market. Contact us at info@tradinganalysis.com if you want to know more about how we can improve your trading. Best wishes in all of your trading ventures.